Welcome to this video session on the poem written by William Shakespeare, The Seven Ages of Man. Shakespeare did not write it as an independent poem, just like he wrote some other sonnets. You know very well that Shakespeare is a world famous dramatist and also a great poet who has written as many as 154 very popular sonnets. This poem is an extract from his famous play As You Like It, wherein Shakespeare puts these words into the mouth of a famous character in the play. However, this can also be read as a separate poem. The poem is a philosophical reflection on life and our different roles in it. A man, from the moment when he is born on this earth until he completes the journey of life till his death, has to perform many roles. He is a child in the beginning, then a school going boy, then a lover, then he takes up some employment such as a soldier, then he become wiser and wiser due to life's experiences, and slowly he slips into old age, wherein he becomes physically and mentally very weak. In the beginning, he is dependent as an infant. He depends on his mother or any other caretaker, even for basic necessities such as food. And as he grows, he has to play different roles. He has to undergo different feelings. He has to take up different responsibilities. And the eventful journey comes to an end with his death. In this way, the poet philosophically reflects on life and how we have to play different roles. It breaks down the complexities of human life into exceedingly simple stages and makes a sweeping generalization as to the manner in which an individual progresses in life. He breaks the entire course of life's journey into 7 different stages, which he calls, as reflected in the title, The 7 Ages of Man. The poem shows Shakespeare's deep understanding of the philosophy of human life. Probably it is very difficult to find any other writer other than William Shakespeare who has understood the philosophy of life very well. If you read his plays, you come across different characters and different situations which show us different facets of human life on earth. You come across many characters who are just like anyone else we meet in real life. And he portrays these characters in such a way that they seem very real, very close to the ones that we meet in our real life. That is the beauty of Shakespeare's plays. Let us begin with the poem. All the world's a stage. If you expand it, you should read it as all the world is a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. Let us focus upon these 5 lines in the beginning. The poet compares life to a drama. As he is a dramatist or a playwright, he compares life to a drama consisting of 7 acts. And the world itself is a stage wherein we have to perform our individual roles. Therefore, in the beginning itself, he makes a very striking statement saying that all the world is a stage. All the world is a stage. He uses a figure of speech here. You are familiar with figure of speech such as simile, metaphor, hyperbole, and some others. Here, the poet uses a metaphor. World is compared to a stage wherein each human being has to perform a particular role assigned to him. And all the men and women merely players. Look at the word merely. We have no other option other than playing the role assigned to us. No man can go beyond that. Our Creator has assigned us certain roles which we have to play, and within our life itself, we have to play separate roles again. And this is the design of God. It is not in our hands to choose any particular role, nor can we alter the course of our life and make it as we like it. It is not possible. Therefore, all the men and women are merely players. That word merely is so meaningful here. They have their exits and entrances. Every human being has an entrance. Entrance is birth, exit is death. In between, it is a long journey. And one man in his time means in his lifetime, plays many parts. Part is role in a play. During the course of our life's journey, we have to play many parts again, right from childhood till old age, right from infancy till infirmity. Infirmity is a stage wherein you become physically and mentally weak. You have to play different roles. His acts being 7 ages. To make things little bit simple, Shakespeare divides the course of our journey into 7 different stages, and those 7 stages are called 7 ages. His 7 stages of life are like the 7 acts of a drama. Since the world is a stage, since we are all actors, we have to perform our roles, and our entire course of life is like a drama consisting of 7 acts, different acts. You have a beginning, you have a middle, and you have an end. All have different routes to enter this stage and also have different exits. They enter the stage when they are born and leave the stage at death. A person plays several parts over 7 acts, which constitute 7 ages. The reader should pay attention to the plural form of the words exits and entrances here. The speaker is not talking only about life and death. As I have told you earlier, entrance means the process of coming into this earth as a baby, and exit means when you leave this earth after death. That is one meaning which you can assign to the line. And another thing is, the poet also suggests human relationships. People come and go in our lives. There are entrances and exits. In the course of our life, many people come and go. And surprisingly, nobody is going to be there on a permanent basis. Some will become your friend, and the same person will exit as an enemy. Some comes in as an enemy and he turns out to be a friend later on. Some become your relatives and then they become enemies or the persons who hate you. So, in this way, it is an eventful journey wherein you cannot define anything. And some relationships are made, broken, and re-established. So this is meant by exits and entrances. This is about the first five lines. Now we move further. At first, the infant means a baby. Shakespeare talks about seven stages of a man's life. And the first stage is that of an infant or a baby. Mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. Mewling means crying. As a baby, an individual cries a lot. He sheds tears, he weeps, he calls his mother. And puking is the process of vomiting. A baby cannot digest everything it eats. Therefore, frequently the baby vomits in the nurse's arms. Nurse is to be taken as a caretaker. And then the whining schoolboy. Thus, the stage of being an infant is pictured as being a dependent stage, wherein the child depends on either mother or any other caretaker, such as a nurse, and the baby is not independent. The baby is not even capable of digesting the food given. It cannot have control over the consequences happening around. In this way, the first stage of a man's life is infancy. All life should begin with infancy. During the infancy, he cries, spills milk, and vomits when he is in the hands of his mother or nurse. The speaker establishes the first stage of life as the stage of dependency. As an infant, you are dependent, you are not independent. And then a whining schoolboy. Slowly, the infant progresses into another stage, that of a school going boy. The stage is of boyhood now. Whining schoolboy. Schoolboy who complains a lot, who talks at a very high pitch, that is whining. With his satchel is the school bag, and shining morning face. His face appears to be very bright as a child. You can observe any child, the face is bright. And you observe an old man, the face is so dull and gloomy. And in between, there are many changes. Okay, therefore, the child has a very bright, enthusiastic get up. Creeping like snail. Again, the poet uses one more figure of speech here. This time it is simile. Creeping, moving slowly like a snail. The boy's movement towards the school is compared to the movement of a snail, wherein he moves most unwillingly, very slowly towards the school. During his infancy, he cries and spills milk and vomits and is dependent. Now, again, he cries with a very high pitch of voice and he moves unwillingly to school while the parents are very much interested in educating the child. The child is not aware of the significance of education. The child wants to stay with the parents and enjoy the presence at home, playing or eating. And going to school appears to be a task which is not liked by the child. His face shines like a bright, fresh morning. He carries his school bag and unwillingly goes to school, slowly like a snail. The poet gives a wonderful comparison here. The boy's movement towards the school is compared to the movement of a snail. Now we move on to the next line. And then the lover. He has completed two stages now. He refers to any individual or any man. And then the lover. Slowly, the man grows further, he becomes young, he enters into the stage of adolescence, and then he becomes a lover. He has a very fascinating and very strong feeling of love in his heart. Sighing like furnace, again, the poet uses a figure of speech. It is simile. He sighs, breathes heavily, like furnace. You might have seen furnace, which releases hot air in a factory. With a woeful ballad, woeful means sad, which is full of feelings of sadness or separation. Woeful ballad is a song. Hmm? He sings a song or he writes a song glorifying his beloved. Made to his mistress's eyebrow means glorifying the beauty of his beloved. He is sad if she does not respond positively to his advances as a lover. Or he might be sad because he might have the feeling that his love may not be successful. Therefore, the youth in the height of his teenage wants to love somebody. The erstwhile child now weaves the dreams of love. His heart is set on love and he writes and sings sad songs or ballads for his mistress, that is his beloved, exalting her beauty and form. For every lover, his beloved seems to be somewhat like an angel. He glorifies her beauty and form. This is the period in a person's life when he witnesses beauty and the feeling of amorous love and infatuation. His heart is infatuated with the feeling of love, wherein he wants to declare his love to somebody. He wants to be loved in return. So, this is the stage of a lover. The fourth stage is described in these lines. Then a soldier. Soldier in general here, not that every human being will become a soldier or takes up the profession of a soldier. Soldier in those days, probably men used to join army, and everybody as a young man had the intention of joining army and serve the country probably. So Shakespeare has taken the example of a soldier. Full of strange oaths, he makes promises. And bearded like a pard, he is very careful about his looks. He is bearded like a leopard. Jealous in honor, he has such feelings as jealousy. He compares himself with others. He compares his achievement with that of others and becomes jealous when someone else gets the honor for doing something. Sudden and quick in quarrel, he is short tempered. He enters into quarrel for no reason. Seeking the bubble reputation at this stage, as a soldier, he wants to seek some reputation. He doesn't know that any reputation for any human being is like a bubble. Now it is there, after some time it is not there. Any reputation is fleeting, it is momentary. As time progresses, it soon evaporates into air. That is bubble reputation. Even in the cannon's mouth, he is ready to sacrifice his life for the sake of honor, for the sake of reputation. Though he is aware of the danger of being a soldier, he still likes it because he thinks that it's a matter of great honor for him to serve the country. During the fourth stage of man's life, he matures and becomes a soldier. Now he attains maturity. He takes strange oaths, whatever may be the nature of oath. He is fierce and has a beard like a leopard. During this stage of life, man is jealous of the honor or reputation earned by others. He is quick tempered and enters into quarrels for trivial things. Since he is hot blooded, he looks for a temporary or momentary reputation. So, in this way, a beautiful description of this stage is provided by Shakespeare. At this stage of life, honor and reputation are very valuable to man. He is not afraid of death and danger while fighting for reputation. However, his reputation is short lived. It is hollow, like a bubble. Thus, this stage is marked with courage and vigor and is the stage of life when a youth becomes a man. So far, Shakespeare has given a splendid description of the stage of infancy, then boyhood, then that of being a lover, and then that of being a soldier. It is very fascinating as well as close to real life situation. If you observe any man, he passes through these stages and he also shares many of the characteristics which Shakespeare has described in this poem. With this, we will conclude the session, and during the next video session, we will continue with the remaining lines of the poem. Thank you for watching this video. Welcome to this video session on the poem The Seven Ages of Man, written by William Shakespeare. During the previous video session, we had seen how Shakespeare compares the world to a stage and all men and women as merely players in this world. Everyone has to play the role assigned to him or her, and everyone has to play again different parts in the process of life. And these are inevitable. Nobody can alter the role assigned to him by God. And no matter whether the role is good or bad or acceptable or unacceptable, we are bound to perform those roles. Therefore, the poet has a philosophical approach towards life. Then he talks about various stages of life. To make things simple, he talks about 7 stages of life. Every man has to go through these 7 stages. These 7 stages are referred to as 7 ages of man. During the previous session, we have seen how Shakespeare gives a splendid description of these 7 roles. He begins with the stage of an infant. Every man comes to this earth at a particular point of time, and at birth he is an infant. Then slowly he becomes a school-going boy and goes through the process of education, and he becomes an adolescent. Then he becomes a lover, and he wants to declare his heartfelt feeling of love towards someone. And then he becomes a soldier. Being a soldier need not be applicable to everyone. It is taking up some form of employment. Here the poet has taken the employment of being a soldier. As a soldier, a man is quick-tempered. He makes several oaths. He has a sense of honor and reputation. He thinks that honor and reputation is the most important thing in life. He is unaware of the fact that it is like a bubble, as momentary and insignificant as a bubble. Reputation is a fleeting entity. Nobody can keep it stable. Even though you earn a good reputation, there are others to spoil it. Therefore, you should not bother too much about your reputation because it is momentary. But the soldier is unaware of these truths of life. There we had stopped, and now we move on. And then the justice, he becomes a judge. Not that he becomes a judge at the court, even in the stage of life, as a wise man with a lot of experiences of life, one can give advice to others, one can show the way for others, one can give one's opinion on certain matters pertaining to life, and in this way it is being a judge. And then the justice in fair round belly with good capon lined. Now his shape has changed. It is after being a soldier or a matured man for several years, and now he is somewhere in his middle age, and his body shape has undergone a change. He has a fair round belly now. It is the result of eating some food like a capon. Capon is a cockerel which is castrated for its flesh. His stomach is lined as a result of eating capon. The poet humorously gives this description. With eyes severe, he has a very severe look now, and beard of formal cut. He wants to appear to be very serious for others. Therefore, he has this kind of beard now, not a very fashionable one. Full of wise sauce. Sauce is a statement or a saying. He speaks some very wise statements. He quotes some famous sayings and modern instances. He gives examples of life's instances wherein he has experienced so many things in the course of life. And so he plays his part. In this way, he performs the role of a justice or a judge. The fifth stage of a man's life is when he becomes middle aged and matured, like a justice or a judge. He is fat with round and fleshy stomach as a result of eating chicken. His eyes are severe and his beard is of a formal cut, which suggests his stern and serious outlook. It is the stage when he is firm, serious, and grim. He appears to be very strict and serious in outlook. He uses many wise sayings and modern instances to support his arguments. Whenever he gives advice to others, he supports it with some very wise statement or some modern happening in and around his environment. In this way, he wants to be wise as a judge. Now we move on to the next lines. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful horse, well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice, turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Now, slowly, he is reaching the old age. He is very close to the old age now. His glorious days of life are almost coming to an end. And now he looks lean. He doesn't have that muscular strength like that of being a soldier or a young man or a lover. And he looks like a pantaloon. Pantaloon is a character that is a fool in Italian plays. The fool is wearing a trouser there. Therefore, pantaloon also means trousers. It refers to the dress worn by the fool in a play. That means the man appears to be foolish here. With spectacles, his eyesight is not very accurate. His eyes have lost their power to see things. Therefore, he may have to wear spectacles to see things properly. And he carries a pouch to keep something there. He needs the support to manage himself. And he wants to smoke using a hose, and his bone has also lost its power. His muscles have become weak now. His bones cannot sustain his physical activity. And his big manly voice, once upon a time, he had a very strong and powerful voice. And now, even his voice becomes weak, and it looks like that of a child. He speaks with a shrill voice, which is just like that of a child. The sixth stage, according to the speaker, is the entry of the middle aged man into senescence. At this stage, man progressively becomes lean and frail. He loses his physical strength. He looks like an old fool that is spent alone. In his ragged slippers, he wears slippers now. He walks slowly. The charm of his youth is almost gone now. The old age comes with a gradual weakening of the senses. An old man is often wearing corrective glasses, that is, spectacles, and pouch on his side to carry his items which are required. The youthful, sinewy frame of a soldier now reduces to the lean and bony structure of the old man. Once upon a time, he had a very solid muscular strength, and his sinewy, that is muscular, frame now becomes lean, and now he has only a bony structure, very weak. The once roaring and manly voice of the soldier and the authoritative voice of the justice reduces in pitch and volume, becoming something akin to childlike. It appears just like the voice of a child. His voice whistles as he talks, which shows the effect of time and age on a person. As he progresses through the journey of life, he becomes worn out at a particular stage. He finds it very difficult to pull through as he has become very weak both mentally and physically. Now, the last four lines of the poem. Last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history is a second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Very powerful and emotional lines. Now, man has completed all six stages of life, and now he has entered into the last and final stage, that is the seventh stage. Last scene of all. It is the scene which is to be performed at the end of one's life's journey. That ends the strange and eventful history. Poet describes the life's journey as strange because nothing happens as we expect, and nothing happens as per our calculation, and everything is strange and unusual for us, and it is eventful. There are so many events. People come and go. People become friends and turn out to be enemies. There are well wishers, there are enemies, there are friends, there are people who love you, there are people who hate you. And it is an eventful journey till the end of life. It is second childishness. Old age is described as second childishness. Man again goes back to the beginning. End is the beginning now, wherein he is childish, just like a child. And mere oblivion. Oblivion is a state wherein you are unconscious of what happens around you, or you are very feeble, you are not able to take in what happens around you. That is being oblivious. Mere oblivion, sans teeth. Sans means without. Sans teeth. Without teeth means when you become very old, you don't have teeth to eat food and digest it. Sans eyes, your eyes do not function properly. You are unable to see without the help of spectacles. Sans taste, even your tongue loses its power to taste things that you eat. And sans everything, that is enough. Without anything, people who are very close to you, they also neglect you at this stage. Your own sons or daughters might think you to be a burden for them. There are so many instances in real life wherein even the family members hate an old man who becomes dependent for everything. So long as you are independent, things are fine. Once you become dependent, you have a miserable fate. Therefore, at this stage, you are just like a child in the beginning. The child is dependent. The child cries and vomits and depends on someone else for everything. Similarly, at this stage, it is second childishness. The last of the stage is dotage. That is a very old stage, leading into the finality of death. You are counting your days. The speaker calls it the last scene of all in the play of the person's life on the stage of the world. This sentence completes the metaphor used by the poet. The speaker describes the journey of a person through the seven ages as a strange and eventful history. The final stage of life is a second childishness where the person enters into oblivion. Dotage causes a loss of all senses. Dotage means a state of being very old and weak. It causes a loss of all senses. Your sense organs do not function properly. They lose their strength and ability to perceive things. And a person is left with nothing. Sans everything. Person is left with nothing. We see a return to dependency at this stage, to that of a child, where you have begun, there you have to end again. Thus, we witness a journey from infancy to infirmity. Infirmity is stage of old age wherein you don't have control over anything. Through the seven ages of man. In this way, it is a very beautiful description of life. The final stage of life is a second childishness where the person enters into oblivion. Dotage causes a loss of all senses and the person is left with nothing. We see a return to dependency at this stage of life. Thus, we witness a journey from infancy to infirmity through the seven ages of man. With this, the poet concludes the description of man's journey through the process of life. It's a wonderful philosophical approach to life, and what description the poet has given is applicable to each and every human being on this earth. Therefore, we say you cannot come across any other poet or dramatist who has understood the reality of life in such a way that whenever he gives a description, nobody can deny it. It is so truthful and real presentation of the facts of life. So, with this, let me conclude the session. Thank you for watching.